Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of Historic Rugby at Home. I'm Jordan, one of the staff members here at Rugby, and today we're going to take a close look at Pioneer Cottage. And Pioneer Cottage is the oldest building that is still in town. It was the first frame structure. That means it had a framework and then there's boards nailed on over top of that. It wasn't, rather than a log building, which fits like this. This building was built in the late 1870s. And it was the first building that Thomas Hughes stayed in on his original trip to the colony in October of 1880. But Pioneer Cottage has had a long history. Of course, Thomas Hughes stayed here, and then it became they called it the asylum actually, and it was the home where a lot of the early settlers, the young second sons, would come and start out here. And the reason they called it the asylum was because, well, what happens when we put a bunch of young single men together for a long time? Yeah, they got into trouble. It was actually so crowded here at times that they had to put pallets on the floor and string hammocks on the porch to be sure they had enough sleeping room for everybody. Well, later on in the 1880s, it becomes the home of the Rugby Music Club, and so they hold entertainments here. And then by the late 1880s, it's the home of Hattie Shelby and her husband Jeff, and they run the steam-operated laundry here in the village, and they were one of the few African-American families that lived in Rugby. This building was still inhabited in the mid 1900s up until the 1940s, 1950s. It was the home for several local families until it was bought by the Rugby Restoration Association in the 1960s and has been restored close to its original appearance, but we've rented out its lodging today. Sometime in the mid-1980s, when the building was open for lodging, Tom T. Hall, the country music singer, stayed here, and he wrote a song called "That's How I Got to Memphis." So you can check out that song, and when you listen to that by Tom T. Hall, the bluegrass and country singer, you get a piece of also Rugby's history when you listen to that song. Well, I tell you what, enough of the history, but we're going to go inside and we're going to take a walk through and join along with me, okay? Thank you. Hey, welcome inside Pioneer Cottage, and like I said, this was the oldest building in town. This building was built in the late 1870s, and it was part of the original plan of Rugby, which was supposed to be Plateau City. But this is the sitting room area. As you look around me, you'll notice these are the original hand-planed boards. See how wide they are? It's an absolutely beautiful spot. This was all virgin timber that they built this building out of. And this was the place that Thomas Hughes stayed on his first trip to the colony. He actually talks about that some of the young Englishmen had to put pallets on the floor in here to have enough room for everybody to stay. And now we're inside the bedroom that's on the ground floor. There's 3 bedrooms inside Pioneer Cottage, and there's also a single bathroom. But this is the bedroom that's on the ground floor, and this is actually the room that Thomas Hughes stayed in on his first trip to Rugby. Of course, we had to refurnish it, but as you can see, it looks almost like it would have when he stayed here. He talks about one morning when he woke up that a dog jumped through one of the windows and came over and took his nose to wake him up. Alright, now we're in the bathroom that's on the ground floor. Originally, this was another bedroom. Thomas Hughes describes that in the book Rugby, Tennessee. You heard me read that last week. But we've changed it over to a bathroom, and this is where it's got the shower and the commode and all. But originally, this would have been another bedroom in the 1880s. And here we've got a full kitchen for your use. Now, this part was added on a little bit later, probably either in the 1890s or a little bit after 1900. This is the new portion of the house, but we've recently redone the kitchen. The countertops are absolutely gorgeous, and there's a full kitchen available for your use while you're here. There's also a screened-in back porch that's available for you to use while you're here, and this is probably the most relaxing spot in the whole house. Originally, the upstairs was one big long loft space, and the colonists early on would string hammocks up here. But we've separated into 2 separate bedrooms. There's a full bed here, and there's also a twin bed in this room. And here's the other bedroom. There's also another twin bed in this room. So it could fit your whole family. If you want to come up for a long weekend or a family reunion or a class reunion, anything, it would be perfect for somebody. So start making those plans.